Hi everyone, welcome to Mosaic Maria. My name is Maria, and if you stopped on this video, sadly you saw the picture of late Gabby Petito, God rest her soul, who died of domestic violence, who was murdered. And the picture that you see in front of you is Gabby taking a selfie at the back of her van that she shared with her abuser, Brian, her fiance, on their journey of life, van life. Okay? 2 minutes before the police in Moab, Utah stopped Gabby and Brian for a 911 call of domestic violence. 2 minutes after, 4 minutes after she was, I believe it was 2 minutes after she was hit, 4 minutes after the call came in. But 2 minutes before the police stopped them in that infamous traffic stop that went on for over an hour, with police trying to figure out the law, what to do in that state, who to take away, how long they should separate them, who hit who first, was it serious? Okay, so what we see is Gabby documenting at the back of her van. If you go look at the van, you see the blanket behind her, that covering behind her is in the back of the van. It's a blanket that they have up over the windows. And she puts it over the back of her head, probably trying to hide from Brian, and gets up really close and takes the picture. Shortly thereafter, the police stop. I want you to see the picture because that is exactly what 3 police officers, one I believe was a forest ranger, a female, who did counsel Gabby that it seemed to be a toxic relationship, and if she wanted to speak to her in private, she could. But what I saw with the male policeman, I'm just going to be straightforward with you guys. I don't mean to down police officers. It's not what I'm saying. It's a tough job. It's a tough call to make. And we got to get better training for police officers in these steps. One is that Gabby probably took the picture to document, but the most important thing you give a person that has been domestically violated in violence, emotionally threatened, humiliated, is the power to choose, the power to say when, to feel safe to say when. So when a person reaches out after having been domestically abused, child, elder, special needs, spouse, intimate partner, whatever, they have to have the power and control to say, I feel it's safe now. Okay? They will not proceed until they feel they have a safe escape plan, a safe place to report. Very often, children will protect abusive parents because they didn't report it. If a child protective worker ends up at a home and says, we got a report from a school or a neighbor, the child didn't expect that. So now the child will actually protect the parents. It's not just because they love them. It's because they're not in control of their reporting. It's been surprised, like, oh, I didn't plan that. Someone saw it and reported it. And now, what do I do? Right? So what they do is they protect the very abuser, trying to buy some time. And they hope that by saying, no, it was my fault, or no, I fell, or I bumped my head, or whatever, they can get some time in the middle to really get away from that person because they know that person's going to be there. So if they protect the parent, spouse, intimate, whoever, caregiver, whoever it is, neighbor, whatever, they feel like they've kind of brought them down and de-escalated them a little bit and won some points with them, so they'll calm down for a while. And that's exactly what they do. Like, oh, you protected me. Okay. But what also happens is they start to feel like, huh, I really am in control of you. See, it's all about control and possessing that person. It's really not about the violence. It's what they use to show their control. It's cowardly. But what that message says to them is, that person's really afraid of me, or they want it. They want me to do this. So I'm gonna keep doing it. Okay. So it backfires every time to protect the abuser. But victims protect the abuser when they don't report it themselves. So Gabby very well took the picture thinking, I can make it home, not say a word, try to keep everything cool, try to keep him calm, and make it home, and then report it when I'm safe. Okay, because usually when somebody else calls, nobody is taken away. If a neighbor calls because husband and wife are screaming and fighting and you know they're throwing blows at each other, they might get separated for a little while and then brought back together and given counseling and all kinds of wage management, and you go cool off, you go here, you go to your mother's house or whatever, right? Okay, so that is why it is so very important to document, to pick up that phone and call domestic violence, the National Domestic Violence Helpline. I'll put it there. When you get there, they might have a high volume of calls and say, we're very sorry, we can't chat or we can't talk right now. It might be 15 minutes, but they will route you to an area within your own district that can get to you right away. You will get transportation help. You will get food assistance. You will get housing. You will get case management, everything you need. And like a police escort, you're going to get help to get out of the situation you're in. Everything you need. So the number one thing they want to plan with you is an escape plan. So they're going to keep it really quiet. They're going to make sure you have steps in order to get out. So the police don't come running in and the abuser is alerted. And now, because what really happens is that abuser holds on to it. They're injustice collectors and they will wait. And the victim will feel like I protected them, so they're going to be okay for a little while. And I can probably make it a little longer, maybe when the kids get out of school and I could take off on the summer, or maybe when my spouse goes away for the weekend, I can make a run for it. Victims are always planning their escape. But to have a third party come in and call it in, it surprises them, it scares them, and they go into automatic protective mode of the abuser. But what the police could see, if we look closely, Gabby was putting her face up. She had no makeup on, which I don't have any makeup on right now. So you could see my age spot here, right? Okay, you could see my dark circles. You can see my skin. Gabby was in the sunlight, and she put her left side of her face up, and you can see that one eye is squinting because it's swollen. And everything we see in the picture, the front of my video, the police saw that day and chalked it up to, I can see you've been crying. Your face gets red from crying. It's hot out here. You're overheated. Let me get you some water. Water. Drink your water. Calm down. Just sit and drink your water. You're really upset. You're rubbing your eyes. They're irritated. I do see the scratch. The one police officer did say, now, if he hit you, we want to know that. If he slapped you, we need to know that. I do see the scratch. Gabby went right into what all victims do when their abuser is right there and they're stuck on the road with them. She knew the police weren't going to take him all the way back to Florida. She knew the police weren't going to keep him in jail for too long. So she protected him. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say is there was kind of this little lady's upset kind of thing going on, where I do hear the police officer saying, I know my wife, when she gets overheated in this heat, had a long day, does better to just go relax and have a cool shower and calm down. Because they're thinking, Gabby abused Brian. Or they both just got into a fight. Maybe she was self-defending herself and they both got hurt. But both of you need to calm down. Brian's going to a motel. You can go get a shower. My wife always feels better when she takes a shower. He might as well have said to Brian, well, the little lady might be on her menstrual cycle. It's too hot out here. Give her a break. It just kind of went that way. And Gabby knew it. So I do believe the Petitos have a genuine right to sue the police department. Absolutely. They need better training. And to not know what the law was, to be going back and forth with what the law was, to not pick up on the body language where Brian immediately went into feeling vulnerable. I'm going to cover up my private parts. I'm going to stand here like a statue, hands folded in front of what? Cover my... he was naked before them. I'm going to cover my private parts like Adam and Eve covered the fig leaves. Okay, I'm going to cover that area because I feel uncomfortable, I feel vulnerable. Right? I'm going to joke. I'm going to laugh with you. I'm going to cooperate, fall in line, and be ever so pleasant. I'm going to be the calm one, while that one over there is being hysterical. I also do believe that Brian Laundrie planned to kill Gabby because he knew that she took the picture. I believe that Gabby may have told Brian. Because sometimes victims will just say, I have pictures. If you hit me again. Or Brian could have found her phone. They both were doing, if he was trying to take her phone away from her, there was a reason for it. If we look back, we remember he was trying to take her phone away from her. He threw her phone out. He may have seen the picture. So, how do we safely document? Where I live in Rochester, New York, we have a big hospital, a teaching hospital called the U of R. But other hospitals do this all over. University of Rochester. Different times of the year. When you go to the doctors, the nurse asks, is anyone harming you? Do you feel safe in your home? Do you feel safe in your workplace? Do you have a feeling that anyone's going to hurt you? Is anybody threatening you? Is anybody emotionally or verbally abusing you? That is your opportunity to speak up. They will not run and call the police, but you will have it documented. They're not going to run and call the police because they don't have a case. They have hearsay. Okay? But you're reporting it to a reputable person that is, by law, has to report it. It becomes part of your medical record, and now it is good for the courts. If you never report it to somebody medical, you don't have much. Even with the pictures that Gabby takes or that anybody took, if she didn't go forward, so I believe Gabby had a plan in her head and was just trying to keep everything copacetic. And actually, the police showing up surprised her too. And so she went in to protect the abuser because I'm stuck with him. And it really was up to the police then to look at her face. Look at the little tiny scratch on Brian and the big old bruising, swelling, red blood and scratches from here to here and here on Gabby that anybody could see in the daylight. Now, I have heard it's reported that the forest ranger, who was female, did set Gabby aside and say, look, no matter what is happening here, it seems like this is a toxic relationship. And if you don't want to tell the male officers, you can speak to me because this doesn't look good. So she knew this don't look good. But how they came up with what they did is just a shame. And I do believe the Petitos have every right in the world to sue and to get police all around to recognize and to have better laws and to know their laws of who they can separate from who they can actually put a charge on, who, what, where, and how to do that. It's never in front of the person. Never, if the abuser's right there, they separated them a little bit, but no. So if you're being abused, please call the hotline and know that you can escape from that hotline on your website, your phone, on your computer at any time by hitting the X in the right corner. And if your abuser shows up, you can hit it. You must clear your browser. Clear your browser. They will still know you are on the website. That is good. So to visit the website or call the number, if you're visiting the website on a computer, clear your browser. Or whoever else can see your phone or your computer or iPad or whatever you have. But please know, if you visit the browser or the website, they do collect what computer it came from, who it came from, and so you are known to them, and that's a good thing. But abusers website too. Okay, so call when you can. Call. And not from if you can, not from a mobile phone that an abuser can get. Try to use a landline that they can't get. They will not call you back on that number. They will not put your life at more risk. They will not send the police right away unless you absolutely need them immediately. They will not do that. They will formulate a safe escape plan. Okay. 2, 3, 4, and 5. I do believe the Laundries knew that their son killed Gabby when he returned from Florida, and that they should be charged with murder. And I know there are people that say, well, they lost their son too. No, they were hoping their son would escape. They were never going to tell. They were never going to tell the Petitos what happened to their daughter. They were never going to cooperate with the investigation, and there should be legal charges against Brian's parents. They deliberately did not say anything to their daughter because they knew their daughter would do the right thing. Brian's sister. It's this case, we can't just let it go because there's so many pieces to it that are wrong, so wrong, that the Laundries could just protect their son knowing Gabby is dead. They knew where their son was. They knew what he had on him. They knew he had a notebook. They knew the mother was writing mail to him. Let me know what you need. Burn this envelope. they were going to help him escape. So that is my feeling, and I wish for everyone to just stay safe. Go to the website, learn about the honeymoon cycle, learn about 4 or 5 different ways that people abuse: emotional, verbal, threats, physical, withholding, financial, all the different ways that people abuse, and why you may be blaming yourself, but it's never your fault. If you hadn't said that, if you hadn't brought up that subject, if you had waited till a time when she was in a better mood, if you had not looked at someone a certain way, if you had dressed differently, if you had stopped blaming yourself, okay? We don't control other people's emotions. They do, okay? So please get help, okay? And I am sorry for the graphic of Gabby's face. God rest her soul, but I think this was her call out, and she would want, just like she would want everyone to see her in front of the beautiful butterfly and the national parks and everything in her journey, she would want people to know, get help. Okay? And that's all I want to say. Thank you. Have a good day and stay safe. Bye-bye.